Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think there are probably some people who are watching this live stream that normally um, are not in our class. I know that I've invited some students who are in some other grade 9 science classes to tune in, because what I want to do is I want to start by talking about the AP Science program. And I know I've had a few questions. I've got a little bit of information for you to provide. So we're going to talk about that to begin with. And then I'm going to leave the floor open to any questions that you have currently about the electricity unit, anything that you want answered. I know that I answered some questions on the. I had 3 questions that I answered. I just posted them because I thought they were pertinent. If anybody wants me to go over those answers again, let me know, and I'll do that close to the end of the video. But first and foremost, AP Science class. Number 1, it is running. Number 2, it is online, okay, which is, I'm going to say, a good thing because I think it ensures our safety at this time. Do I like online learning? Is that my preferred method of teaching? No, I don't think that that's the best way to learn, but considering what's going on in the world, it's the safest. And so that is what we will be online. It will be through the LMS, and it will be for the month of July. Okay, and that we should consider as good news because it keeps us safe. And the other good thing about it, the one other positive thing about it is when we do the AP Science class to transition you from grade 9 to grade 10 AP, you have to take the summer school class. You have to be in a science classroom sitting on those stools. But summer school is 6 hours a day. So you'll spend 6 hours a day sitting on those stools. And we hate that. We hate those stools. So those are the 2 pluses. It's safer right now, and you don't have to sit on those stools all day for the AP summer class. Okay. So it is online. There will be 2 teachers teaching it. So that we did this last year. We had 40 kids sign up to take it. Each of us, it was myself and another teacher, we took 20 kids each and we taught the class. Okay, so when I describe what it's going to look like, it's what it's going to look like if you're in my class. Certainly there'll be a lot of similarities because we have the same notes, the same material, by and large the same timing in terms of when things are happening. We stay very coordinated that way. But of course, you know, every person is different, and so there may be differences in the way communication happens with you and your teacher if you're not in my class. So don't quote me and say, well, I'm in so and so's class, and you know this isn't how you described it. You know, if you're in my class, this is what it's going to be like. You know, and it'll be similar in the other class, but maybe there'll be some slight differences. Okay, so, and some of you may know the other teacher. I believe Miss Taylor. Miss Taylor is going to be the teacher of the other class. That is my understanding, and she's a wonderful teacher. So either way, you're very, very lucky. You have two. I mean, I'll say 2 pretty good teachers. You know, who are pretty with it in terms of technology, handling the online learning in the summer. So what is it going to look like? Well, summer school is a month long, but we still have to get 110 course hours in. So that means you have to be in the class for 110 hours. And what that basically means is online or in class, we're going to be providing you with several hours of work to do or several hours of instruction per day. Okay. And if it's coming from me, then the likelihood is what you're going to see in the online summer class is I am going to post online videos, which would be the same lessons that you would get in class, taking you through the lessons. So you'll hear my voice walking you through. And if you're in my class, those of you that are in my class currently, then you kind of have an idea. You know, I've gotten a little bit better at doing it. I've had to adapt really quickly to taking my lessons and making sure that as much of them as possible is available online. So you'll hear my voice. You'll see the PowerPoints. If there's any math that's involved, you'll be seeing me do it with pen and paper. So you'll see the math in motion with my voice talking over it. And so I do my best to make sure you get those lessons. Homework, obviously, we're going to provide to you. It's going to be all posted online, just the same way in the LMS. Everything's going to be organized by unit first, then by lesson. Okay, so all that content is going to be available to you. So I'm big on using, and really when I do things online, and the kids that are in my class know this, there's really 4 places that you got to look at all times. You always want to look at the announcements, because that's how I communicate with you every day to kind of say, this is what we're doing today. Okay. You want to look at the content browser, because I try to keep the content browser very organized. I organize it by unit, and then I organize each unit into lessons. So we're doing this folder today. This lesson has everything that we need to get through today's lesson, whether it's the video that we need to watch, the PowerPoint that we need to go through, the homework that we need to do. If there are solutions that are available somewhere, then I'll post those solutions there. And so all that is in the content browser. We are going to do tests and quizzes in the summer school class. And so the quiz tab of the LMS page is going to be important. Okay, and if you're in my class, we've used it, we do it. We have a quiz right now that's ongoing that my class can access. We do short answer questions that way, multiple choice questions that way, matching questions that way. And so that tab is going to be important for you. And then, of course, we have assignments, which is actually, I had a bit of a challenge trying to figure out how they work and how to actually post a mark from them once I've marked an assignment. But I think I figured that out. So the assignments tab is going to be the fourth tab that you check. And basically what it's going to look like is every day you're going to go on, you're going to read the announcement that I've made that day, as in, well, this is what we're doing today. This is where you have to look to find the things that we're doing today. Then you'll go to the content browser tab and you say, okay, here are all the things that we're doing today. Here is the video that is the lesson that I have to do. Here is the homework that I have to do. Here is the PowerPoint that we went through today, or here is the lesson, the Word document that is the note today. You'll find all that in the content browser tab when you get there in the summer. If there's a quiz, again, you'll have to do it by this date. Now, what I'm doing now with my class is we have a lot of opportunities to do the quizzes because we're in a very unique situation with COVID-19. And so I'm not setting hard and fast due date for quizzes. Okay, yeah, you've got to do it by this day, but you've got a week to do it, and it's open book, and I've given you lots of time on the quiz to do it. In the summer, when you sign up for the class, okay, we're starting fresh, it's online. Okay, so when we do online quizzes and tests in the AP summer class, there's going to be a little bit more pressure on you to kind of say, okay, I've got one shot to do it. I'm going to be timed a little more strictly in terms of getting it done within, if I say, okay, this is a 35-minute quiz, or this is a 1-hour quiz, or this is a 1-hour test, or whatever, you have 1 hour to do it. Well, you have to stick within that time because it'll log you out if you don't get it done within that time. So that's going to be something that, we'll have to deal with when the time comes. But you're going to get very similar tests and quizzes to what we would do in class, what we did to get you through. Okay, it's going to be kind of the same idea. We're trying to keep things as close as possible to the same difficulty level that we had last summer when we did it in person. Okay, so the same. Not that it was hard last summer. It was not it was not a super hard course, but we're going to try to keep it that same difficulty level because we want to give you the same challenge and we want to make sure that you get the same experience. So that's the big thing that you have to keep in mind. And there'll be assignments that you submit in the Dropbox. Okay. Right now in my class, if you've been following the pattern, you know that I post work every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And that's when I make the announcements. And so Tuesdays and Thursdays kind of represent, your kind of work days. In the summer class, you will be getting work every single day. Normally the in-person summer school classes, they last from I think it's 8:15 in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, and they go to 1:45 in the afternoon. And there's a very short break in the middle of the day. So we want to be able to match that close to that amount of time. Now, of course, when we're doing things in class, there's transition times that we lose, and it can take a little bit longer to get through a lesson because people are asking questions or whatever. But by and large, you're going to expect to have a few hours of work every single day to go through. Okay. Now, I do my best to record videos for every lesson, but I don't do lessons live. Okay. And the reason for that is simple. If I were to do my lessons live, then that would mean that you have to be on at this certain time. You have to have your computer available to you or your device available to you at this certain time to get the full experience of the class. And that can actually be a big challenge for everybody. Not everybody can be online when I'm online. Sometimes you have brothers or sisters or parents that need to use the device at the time that I'm doing the lesson live. And so that's not fair to you. Sometimes it's not fair because logging on online and you being live can cause some issues. And so what I don't want to do is I don't want to say, well, the live portion of this course is essential for passing this course. I don't want to do that. So what I do is I record every lesson and I make that available to students. And I say basically, you know what, you have to get this done by this time, but you can do it at any time today. So if you're the type of person who, you know, you sleep in the mornings, well, I'm not. So if we were going to do a live lesson, I might say, listen, 9 o'clock, I'm going to be live. And you might say, oh, God, it's this July. I don't want to get up at 9 a.m. to be there. Well, that's fine. Right? I accept that. And so the lesson is recorded. So if you want to wake up at noon and you think, okay, from 12 o'clock to 4:30, that's when I'm going to do my work for the AP Science class. I'm going to get everything done for today, and then I'm going to have the rest of my day to myself. Then that's fine. That's up to you, right? I'm going to wake up at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to prepare all my lessons and the videos and post everything and make sure it's on there for you. But you don't have to wake up at 8 o'clock either. Okay, and if there's other concerns or reasons why you can't be live and party to a live lesson, then you know you're not going to lose out on the course. You're going to get the same experience that everybody else does. So basically, the answer to do we do live lessons? Are we going to do live lessons? I'm not, because I want to make sure that as many people as possible in the class get the same experience. Okay. Now, that does not mean that we are not going to meet live. I've been doing these live streams with my class, and I don't know who's watching this video. There's 10 people watching right now. They may be all 10 people from my class going, yeah, we know. But maybe there's a few people watching right now that aren't in my class, because I know that I posted an announcement and it was shared with people from other classes that it was running, and I did share the live link with a few certain people. So maybe there are people from other classes that don't know I do this. But I've been doing these live streams once per week with my class, in case there are any questions. Okay, and sometimes there are, and sometimes there aren't. Okay, but they're supplementary. So in other words, if you don't have any questions, if you're pretty good with the material and you don't have any questions, then you don't have to tune into these live streams. Okay, they're extras. Okay, that way every student is getting the essential part of the course, and these Q&As that I do, they're bonuses. Okay, so if you have questions, you tune in, you ask. Okay, if you don't have questions, then you don't need to tune in. You don't have to worry about it. And then it'll be recorded and posted anyway. So if you want to check it out later just to see if there's something that might be pertinent to you, then you can go ahead and do that. Okay, you can go ahead and check that out. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be what we call asynchronous learning. In other words, I'm going to make sure that all my lessons are recorded in video format. You'll be provided with the master copy of every note, with the student copy of every note, with the homework, sometimes solutions if I have solutions available to post for you. You're going to get all that, and then you can do it within, you know, at your own, I don't want to say at your own pace, because I will pace the course. I will tell you, you have to be done this by this time, otherwise you're behind, but you know, at your leisure. So if you're a person who wants to wake up at 9 o'clock and you want to get your work done from 9 to 1, by all means, go ahead. If you're a person who goes, listen, I'm going to sleep until 3 o'clock in the afternoon because it's July and that's what I do. I mean, that's not a good idea. You should get up in the morning when the sun is out and, you know, go to bed at a reasonable hour. That's healthy. But, you know, you are living your lives, and that's your business between you and your parents or guardians. But if you want to wake up at 3 o'clock and go, listen, I'm going to work on the AP class from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Hey, fine. You know, you're going to get the same experience, right? If you're the type of person that says, you know, we have one computer in the house, but my older brother has to take it because he's taking English online. My parent or guardian is working from home, so they need the computer between certain hours, and then I have to figure out my time to have the computer. Well, then you're still going to get the same experience as everybody else. Right? Because you can negotiate that time within your own family, but you're going to be able to access the same content that, you know, someone who has 4 computers in their house can access, right? You're going to get the same content, so you're not going to miss anything in. Okay, so how are you registering for this course? Well, What we don't want to do is we don't want to put the course on the MyPath app. And the reason for that is this course is exclusive to Cathedral students. Okay? If you have signed up for the AP class in the grade 10 years, so SNC 2DA, okay? If you signed up for that class, then you need to be taking this summer class in the month of July. You need to be signed up for it. The course code is GLE10A. And if you want to take it, the guidance counselors at Cathedral are entering people into the course manually. Okay, so you can get in contact with the guidance department at Cathedral, okay, and they can enroll you in the class. So if you want to be if you're a grade 9 student and you want to be in the AP class in the summer, okay, and because you want to be in the AP class in grade 10, then you got to get in contact with guidance and they'll sign you up. Now, what I want to do is I want to provide a list of students. Now, I had intended it to be a list of students from my class. So out of the kids in my class, if kids in my class wanted to take the AP class, I wanted them to email me. But I know that there are people who are not in my class who have gotten my email and kind of said, listen, I want to be in the class too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to compile a list over the next few days of everyone who emails me and says, listen, I want to take the class, put my name on the list, and I will send that to the Cathedral Guidance Department. Okay? I will send that to Cathedral Guidance Department. Okay? So if you want to take the class, you can send me an email with your full name and the best phone number to reach not you, but to reach your parent and or guardian, okay? And the reason, even though some of you are in my class and I know your full name, the reason why I'm asking for your full name is just so that I can highlight it, copy, and paste it, right? Instead of me having to type it out or go search here for your name and then go search over here for your phone number. Just send me an email. I can copy and paste your phone number and your name into one list and send that to guidance and say, listen, these are the kids that really want to take this summer class. What do we do with them? Okay, just so that I have a rough idea. So if you want to take it, send me an email. If you just want to skip me altogether, if you think, you know what, forget it, I don't need to talk to this guy, he's not my teacher, I don't care, I don't know him, whatever, and you just want to call Cathedral Guidance yourself, by all means, go ahead and do it. But I'm compiling a list. I'm just trying to get as many people as possible signed up for that course because we want to have, we want to have substantial numbers. Right, we really want to have substantial numbers. So I'm just trying to hook as many kids or net as many kids and push them into that class because I think that there are a lot of kids that would benefit, even if the kids are kind of going, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. Okay. So the last question that I want to, and it's nobody asked me this, but it's a question that maybe you're thinking about. How do I know if I should be in AP Science? Okay, well, things are tough right now because it's hard for me to look at you guys and say, well, if you got such and such a mark, then you should sign up for AP Science because your whole semester of science is blown, right? It's not a particularly fair situation that we're in to make a judgment. Now, I know a lot of you are very bright kids, a lot of you are very hardworking kids, but the mark that you get is not going to be necessarily equivalent to the mark that you might have gotten during the semester. Right? Maybe you're going to get a mark that's a little bit lower than you might have gotten in the semester because maybe you kind of slacked off at the beginning and then you thought, you know what, no, I really want this and I'm going to work a little harder towards the end, but the online learning really screwed you up. Okay? Maybe you did better in online learning because it was a little easier than you might have done in this semester. So it's kind of skewed. Or maybe, you're just a hardworking kid and, if you were going to get a 90 in class, then you got a 90 now. It's just because that's who you are. You're a 90 kid. I don't know. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. If you want to take AP Science, forget your mark. Don't worry about it. Okay. Unless, you were at 25%. It's maybe not for you, but if you're kind of going, listen, I had a 70, I don't know, is it for me? I'm not sure. Take it. Sign up for the summer class and take it. You're going to pass the summer class if you do the work. I know that. You will pass the summer class if you do the work. Okay? I know you'll pass the summer class if you do the work. Well, will you get the best mark? Well, that's up to you. But if you do the things that we assigned you to do, you do the homework that we assigned you, you're probably going to pass the class. And so you're a credit ahead at the very least. Okay? If you go through that summer class, you go, you know what, this is too hard for me. I'm going to do my best, but I'm not really getting a great mark. It's fine. Okay? You stop the AP program. In grade 10, you go ahead and take the regular science class and move on with your life. You're a credit ahead. You've seen some material from later science classes, so if you choose to take those classes, you've got that content. You've already done it. You've seen it once. That can only help you. Okay? The only way you lose is if you're kind of going, oh, I'm not really the best at science. I'm going to take the class, and then you don't do any work. Well, then you're going to fail. Okay? If you do the work, you'll get a credit. If you work really, really hard and you get a really, really good mark, well, then good. Carry on with AP. If you take the class, you do the work, and you don't get a mark that you're really happy with, then you say, okay, I'm a credit ahead. I took it in the summer. I'm 1 credit ahead. That's good. I'm just going to go into the regular science stream, no problem. So you don't lose. Okay? So if you're on the fence and you kind of like science and you think you're going to put some work into it, don't worry about your mark. Just say, okay, I'm going to put some work into it, and I'm going to take the class. Okay? So that's my advice to you. So either send me an email or give guidance a phone call. Okay? Give Cathedral Guidance a phone call. Or call your VP and have them put you in touch with guidance. Or get in contact with me and I'll put you in contact with guidance somehow. Okay? So, again, you all have my email. If there's a question that was unclear, I was talking for 22 minutes and I know maybe it's a word salad that's come out, but if there's something that I said that's unclear, okay, please email me. I'm happy to answer any emails to the best of my ability. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and I'll clarify whatever I can clarify for you. But please let somebody know that you want to take that science class in the summer, okay? Make sure that you let either me know or you call guidance and say, listen, I want to take it, and they'll make sure you're on the list, okay? Call your guidance counselor if you don't want to get in contact with me. Okay, so that's that for AP. Any questions, email me or type it into the chat. I'll do my best to answer. Now, does anybody have any questions with regards to what's going on in the course right now? By the way, if you're not in my class, you can log off, you can disappear, you can go do what you're going to do because I'm done talking about the AP for now. Okay, so if you're in my class though and you have a question, you can go right ahead and ask. Okay, now I have a question from someone right here. Are there any benefits taking AP Science? I'm not sure if I want to continue later in science. I don't want to have extra pressure because of one class in grade 10. Okay, so there are benefits. There are benefits. The biggest benefit is by the time you get to grade 12, a lot of the stuff you'll have learned in the grade 12 AP Science classes, a lot of that content is actually going to be content that we've pulled from first year university. So you'll get exposure to, depending on which AP Science classes you're taking in grade 12, you could be getting exposure to the physics curriculum from first year university, biology curriculum from first year university, or chemistry curriculum from first year university. That's the biggest benefit because it's going to make your first year of university that much easier. Okay. If you take grade 12, if you take the AP program and you're in grade 12 AP, and it could be any of the 3 sciences, and it could also be computer science because I think they're doing a computer science class, but I don't have too much information on that. You have the ability to then write what's called the AP test, which is not a test that we administer. It's a test that an organization administers. Okay, and depending on the university that you go to, if you do well enough on that AP test, then you could have a university credit coming to you. Okay, so that's the second benefit to taking it. Okay, those are really the 2 benefits. Is that number 1, you're going to get exposure to the material that you're going to do in first year university, and so it's going to make that first year university that much easier for you. And number 2 is you have the potential of taking that AP test, right, and then maybe getting a free university credit, right, which is good because university credits are actually expensive, right? So every university course that you take could be, $800 or $900. So if you do well enough on the AP test through the AP organization, then you might skip that credit. Okay, now in grade 10, okay, you're going to be taking an AP science class. It's not an additional class. It's in place of the regular grade 10 science class. It will be a little harder. I won't lie to you. It'll be a little harder, but it's not going to kill you. Okay, it'll be a little tougher, but it's not going to kill you. Okay, and my advice is to students that are on the fence again, and I don't teach the person who made this comment. So, but my advice to all students is if you're on the fence, okay, take the class in the summer, particularly this class this year, because you're not going anywhere this summer. You know, you're not doing anything this summer. So in the worst case scenario, you take the class in the summer, you go, you know what? This class is tough. I don't want to do this in grade 10. I don't want to be in this pathway in grade 10. I'm just going to get through this class now. I'm going to get an extra credit because you'll be a credit ahead, and then I'm going to take my regular grade 10. So if you're worried about saying, I'm not sure if I can handle more challenging classes during the school year, take the summer class, okay? Because it's one class. If you do the work, you'll pass. I'm not saying you'll get a good mark, but if you take the class and you do the work that we assign, you will pass. Okay? Take it in the summer and use that as your barometer for saying, do I want to do this extra work? Okay? Do I want to continue on with this? And if you get through the summer class and you go, you know what? I passed, but it was kind of tough. Let me just take the regular science, grade 10 academic science. I don't want to be in the AP stream. Well, now you know. Now you know if you've gotten through the grade 10 AP summer class. Now you know. I'm good. I don't want to take I don't want to take the AP one in grade 10. I'm just going to take the regular science in grade 10. I know. And you're a credit ahead, which is good, right? Because most grade 9 students, if they succeed in all of their classes, they finish grade 9 with 8 credits. If you take the summer class, right, then that's going to be a 9th credit. That means you're entering grade 10 with 9 credits. That means you're 1 credit ahead. Okay? That means when you get to grade 12, okay, you'll still be a credit ahead. So you could potentially, you have spaces to fill in your schedule. It gives you a little leeway for spaces to fill in your schedule, or maybe that means you can take a spare or something like that you can use later. Okay? So those are really my 3 benefits. If you choose to stay with the AP, I gave you my 2 benefits. If you choose not to stay with the AP program, well, then there's your I'm a credit ahead now. I have 1 credit that I took in the summer. I'm now ahead. It's an elective credit that I don't have to take later. And I'm ahead. Maybe I'll use it as a spare. Maybe I'll use it because in grade 12, I want to take a whole bunch of classes, but I don't have enough room. Well, no, I have a spare. So now I can fit another class in there, and you can play with your schedule really, really well. Okay? So that's the benefits. And I would say if you're on the fence, but you're a pretty good student, take it. You got nothing to lose this summer. Okay? Okay, so I'm just going to keep moving on with the stuff from my class. If you have a question to ask and it's about AP and you want to ask it, I will answer it. The one thing I want to mention, I gave you guys the online lab on Explore Learning. I haven't checked to see how many people have submitted it as yet, so I don't know how many people have finished it or not. I do know that there are some questions near the end of the lab in part C that ask you about total resistance in a parallel circuit. And the grade 9 curriculum does not have you figure that out. That's part of grade 11 science or the AP summer class. So you haven't learned that yet. So those questions on that lab, I'm not going to get rid of them. If you choose to answer them, I'm going to consider them bonus marks. So if you've worked out those answers correctly, I'm going to call those bonus marks. And you'll know they're part C. I think it actually starts at question 3 in part C of the lab, if I'm not mistaken. And those questions I'm just going to consider as bonus marks. Okay? I should have read, that's my bad. I took some stuff out of the lab. The document for the lab, I should have taken a little bit more out. I obviously wasn't paying enough attention when I put it together, but we'll call those bonus marks. Okay, so no harm, no foul. Give it a shot, and if you can't get it, don't worry about it because it's just a bonus. Okay. Now I know that I had some other questions, and I'm gonna try pulling up my email because I had 3 really, really good questions about, I think it was lesson 5. And let me get those out for you because they're really good. And I posted the answers. So let me see who sent that to me. Okay. So I had 3 really, really good questions that I posted online. So if you don't want to hear me mention these at all, you can check on the LMS announcements page and you can see my answers to these, but I'm going to answer them here as well, okay? So the one question I had was, do the electrons flow from the negative terminal to the positive terminal or from positive to negative? Electrons flow negative to positive, okay? Electrons flow negative to positive. That is the way they flow, okay? That's the way it works, okay? What we have to understand is a little bit of history. We discovered electricity before we discovered the electron. We were building things that used electricity, that had circuits in them, before we knew what the electron was. So we were using electricity before we really understood how electricity and how electric current worked. So for many, many years, we knew there was something that was flowing through wires, but we really didn't have the language or the information to explain what it was. So for many years, prior to the 20th century, engineers and electricians said that electricity flowed positive to negative. And we know that that's actually not true. But we still talk about it today because there are many people working as engineers or electricians, electrical engineers or electricians, and there are many schematics or diagrams that are drawn that show current going positive to negative. And the only reason why I mentioned I didn't mean to confuse anybody, but the only reason why I mentioned it is you may go further in your educations, your careers, and you yourselves may become electricians or electrical engineers or some other kind of engineer where you come in contact with this sort of thing. In that case, you will see that sometimes circuits are drawn, schematics are drawn, showing current going positive to negative. And it doesn't really change much as far as how the circuit works, but it's technically wrong. We have a name for it. It's called conventional current, and it's wrong. It's technically incorrect, but it's still used in drawings. So you're not going to see them from me. Anything that I give you is always going to be negative to positive. We're going negative. I don't know why I'm spinning. I'm deliberately spinning like counterclockwise here or clockwise and counterclockwise. Like I don't know why I'm spinning that way, but because it doesn't make a difference. But it's always going to be negative to positive from me, and that's actually the correct way that it works. Okay, electrons leave the negative terminal, and then they go about their business, and they return to the positive terminal. That's the way it is. That's electron flow current. Okay, but just be aware that you may encounter the opposite. It's untrue, but it's still in common usage. Okay. So my second question here is potential difference the amount of energy used at a certain point in a circuit? For example, how much energy a light bulb will use, and you calculate the amount of electrical potential energy from before and after light bulb. I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm going to answer it this way. Potential difference is the amount of energy used between 2 points in a circuit. So for example, that could be before and after a light bulb or some other load. Okay, so before the light bulb, okay, the current or the electrons in the current, so the current, has the potential to do this much work. And after the light bulb, that energy has been used. And so the potential is less. And so the potential difference is the difference between those 2 points. Okay? And it's like saying, I'm going to hold my mug up here, and it has a certain potential. There's a certain potential energy here. Because you know if I drop it, it'll fall. And when it falls, that's a release of energy. Now, you're getting ahead of the game because we're talking a little too much physics now, but that's potential energy because it has the potential to drop. And as it drops, it releases kinetic energy, okay? So here, there's a certain amount of potential energy. Here, there's less potential energy because it's lower, okay? So the light bulb is in between. So the electrons have a certain amount of potential to do work up here. When you drop them, you light the light bulb, and now they have less potential to do energy, okay? Sorry, to do work. Okay, so yes, you measure it between 2 points, always between 2 points, the before and after. You can think of it like before and after. Okay, and it makes sense. Each coulomb of charge should have less potential to do work after having done some work. Okay. Question 3 was good. If the electrical potential energy is already the amount of energy per coulomb, why does the formula for potential difference say to divide it by electric charge again? Should it not be just the difference of electrical potential energy between 2 points? So here's why. I think the problem here with this question came from lesson 5 when I gave you an equation, and that equation was potential difference equals difference in potential energy in joules divided by charge. So you're right. Normally, when we're talking about a variety of different forms of energy, so for example, the mug, we could talk about potential energy in this mug, and we could talk about potential difference between this point in space and this point in space, higher and lower. There's more potential here, there's a little bit less here. We could talk about potential difference. And the unit that we would use is joules, because that's a unit for energy, okay? But when we look specifically at electrical energy, we have to kind of specify what we're talking about. So we're specifying that we're talking about potential energy, but we want to talk about the potential energy of each coulomb of charge. So we want to make it specific to per coulomb of charge, because you could have more or less current, okay? But we want to say each coulomb of charge in that current has this much potential. And so we divide by charge in that case, okay? So it's something that's just specific to electrical energy. Well, we want to know per current. That's like saying, could be like saying, if we're talking about flowing water, since we've used flowing water a lot, a river flowing downhill has a certain amount of potential energy, okay? So if it's at the top of the hill, it has a certain amount of potential energy. By the time it reaches the bottom of the hill, it has less potential energy. We could measure that in joules, okay? But maybe I want, for whatever reason, I want to know what the potential energy is per water droplet, okay? Per water droplet in that river. Now, that's not useful in real life, okay? If we're talking about rivers, but I want to know per water droplet. So I would have to divide by the number of water droplets, and I would get my energy, potential energy per water droplet. It's the same thing. Now, I have a certain amount of potential energy in joules in an electrical circuit, but I want to know what that potential energy is per coulomb of charge. And so I divide by charge, and that gives me my voltage. Okay? And voltage is valuable because I can't use joules in the Ohm's law equation. The Ohm's law equation only works if we can compare charge, voltage, and resistance. So it's really useful for me to have that energy per charge, which is voltage. So that's why I divide by charge. Okay? Any other forms of energy we can leave as joules, but electrical energy becomes more useful for us to use in the Ohm's law equation when I divide it by charge. So those are the big questions that I had. I hope I haven't missed anything. If somebody I think I got all the questions that were emailed to me. If I missed a question that was emailed to me, just email me again and say, sir, you screwed up. You got to answer this question again, but I think I covered everything. So keep emailing me if you have questions about the course. Okay. Does the quiz, great question. Does the quiz include lesson 9? No. Excellent question, Maya. Does the quiz include lesson 9? Absolutely not. Okay. Quiz will be lesson 4 to 8. Lesson 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Lesson 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. That is your quiz. And that's all that's on there. And I think that when you take a look at this quiz, you're going to find that it's a little bit shorter than our previous quizzes, because normally what we would have done, normally what I would have done is I would have given you a quiz that has questions where you have to draw circuits. And there's no way to do that online. So what I could have done is I could have given you the quiz questions as I did, and then said, okay, in a separate document, email me drawings of these quizzes, or drawings of these circuits. But he didn't want to do that because it's too much. So The quiz has a little bit less than I would have normally given you on a quiz at this point in time. It should be a little bit shorter, but that's a plus. So take that, run with it, do the best that you can. Take as many opportunities as you need to take. I'll take the highest mark, which is, by the way, might not be something that we do in AP Science during the summer. We might not be saying, do the quiz 5 times and I'll take your highest mark. That's probably not going to be the case in the AP Science class. Okay, you're not going to have 5 chances to do the quizzes and tests in the AP Science class this summer, unfortunately. Can't justify that. Certainly maybe a little bit easier than writing the test in class, but I can't let you do it 5 times like I'm letting you do now. But in any case, yeah, lesson 9 not included. Okay, lesson 9 not included. And we only have 1 lesson left. So lesson 10 is going to come out on Friday. I'm going to provide you with a review on Friday, and then probably on Monday, we're going to spend most of the week with no new lessons, but most of the week is just going to be there for you to work on a quick final assignment for the unit. We're going to probably have a test that you can work on next week, and then we'll likely try to begin space Friday of next week. We'll begin the space unit Friday of next week, okay? And the space unit will likely just be several lessons and then a test, and that's it. So we won't have assignments, we won't have quizzes in space. It'll just be I'll give you all the lessons, and then here's the test at the end, okay? And that'll likely be the space unit. And then that should probably put us at the end of the year, and we'll have I'm going to do one big kind of final exam. But again, if we're following the patterns of how our tests and exams have been, it's not going to be a do or die situation. You'll have opportunities that'll make that really easy on you, but that's what we're looking at right now, because June we're practically in June now, right? It's May 27th. We are in June as of Monday, and we're shutting it down. We're getting close to the end, and hopefully, I just want to encourage everybody. There's only 6 people watching right now, but I'm sure people will watch it later, and you guys talk to each other. Listen, it's getting hard. It's hard. June is a hard month to get through. In normal times, it's going to be a tough month to get through for all of us now. But I'm just asking you guys, pull through. Don't slack off now. Don't give up now. Everything you do is just going to add to that mark, and there's valuable stuff coming up. I want your academic science students, I want you to get as much of the curriculum, at least exposure to the curriculum, as you can get. And I think, hopefully that is something that your parents and guardians and you appreciate, that you have seen as much of the curriculum as possible in this period of time, because I want to, set you up to do well, but I also want to set you up to like science. I want to set you up to say, you know what? I liked physics. I liked parts of physics. I liked parts of biology. I liked parts of chemistry. I liked the material, and I haven't hidden anything from you. So there's no surprises about what that material pertains to. So please, I implore you, stick with it, because I don't want you to miss out on some things that you may end up, I don't know if I want to say enjoy, but appreciating out of science. And there are things in the space unit that, it's probably the least important unit, but there are interesting things there, and I remember as a student, I learned space, again, I think in grade 9, like you guys do. I think the curriculum was the same way when I was a student in grade 9. In 2005, 15 years ago. So a long, long time ago. Who would have thought in 2005 that I would be teaching grade 9 science in the middle of a pandemic? But I certainly didn't expect that. But anyway, but I remember taking it in grade 9 and then enjoying it, and it never came up again in science for the rest of high school. But in my first year of university, I took an astronomy course first year, which was challenging. It was difficult. It was not an easy class, but I really, 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 really enjoyed it. And I really, really appreciated it. And I'm not saying that I'm as good as the professor that taught me that astronomy class, but somewhere along the way, I hope that you catch on that some of this stuff is interesting. And I hope that, you've had exposure to space sciences and astronomy. And so that when you come to your first year of university and you have the opportunity to take a class like that, because you have room in your schedule, you say, you know what, I'm going to take that because there's some interesting stuff I'm going to learn. and you may benefit from that. So I don't want anyone to miss out on anything that's really, really valuable. So stick with it. June is a tough month. It's hot out. We want to go out and not be stuck here watching computer screens, but just stick with it, because there's a lot of benefits that you're going to carry through for the remainder of your life in that way. Okay, so I've been talking for 5 minutes. I'm losing my voice here. If anybody has any other questions, shoot them in now. I talk a lot. You guys are very brass tacks. Maya, does the quiz include lesson 9? Shut up, sir. Tell us what we really want to know. No, it doesn't include lesson 9. But so if you have a question, get it in now. But if I don't see anything, please make sure that you are, especially now, because I see a lot of people kind of breaking the rules of the lockdown. We're kind of stretching the boundaries. Listen, we're not out of the woods yet. The pandemic's not over. So I still implore you, to take care of yourselves. Make sure you're taking care of the people that you care about, that you're staying safe, that you're staying healthy, and that you are finding time to study, but you're taking care of your mental health at the same time. And everyone's being safe. Okay, everyone be safe and take care. Okay, so that was a really long live stream, but I hope that there was somewhere in there something valuable for everybody to have taken. And you guys have a really wonderful day. And this, of course, will be posted. So if you want to tell anybody in other classes that want to hear about AP and you think it might be valuable to them, make sure you just tell them, hey, here's the link to the video. Go check it out. Okay, so everyone take care. Keep studying. Do your best. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.